Frank Murray stood at the observation deck of Earth Station Alpha, his eyes fixed on the approaching alien ship. 48 years old with graying hair at his temples, Captain Murray had never imagined that humanity's first contact would happen during his lifetime, let alone under his command. 5 minutes until docking, Captain, said Lieutenant Olivia Kent, the station's chief science officer. Her dark hair was pulled back in a regulation bun, and excitement shone in her eyes despite her professional demeanor. "Thank you, Lieutenant," Frank replied, straightening his blue uniform. "Is the welcome committee ready?" "Yes, sir." "The UN Secretary General is waiting with the diplomatic team in the main hall." The alien ship grew larger in the viewport, sleek and silver with strange curves that seemed to bend light around its hull. After decades of sending signals into space, humanity had finally received an answer 3 years ago. Now, representatives of something called the Galactic Commonwealth had arrived. "It's really happening," Frank whispered. "Nervous, sir?" Olivia asked with a small smile. "Wouldn't you be? We're about to meet beings from another world." The docking procedure went smoothly. Airlocks connected, pressure equalized, and Frank led the way to the main reception hall. The Secretary General stepped forward as the inner doors slid open. The aliens were tall, at least 7 feet, with slender bodies and pale blue skin that seemed to shimmer under the station lights. 4 arms extended from their torsos, and their large eyes blinked slowly as they took in the human delegation. "Greetings from Earth," the Secretary General said. "We welcome you in peace and friendship." The lead alien stepped forward. Its translator device hummed for a moment before it spoke in slightly mechanical English. "I am Ambassador Zelnor of the Galactic Commonwealth. We bring greetings to the people of Earth. We have traveled far to meet the species whose signals have reached our monitoring stations." The meeting moved to the conference room where humans and aliens sat across from each other. Frank noticed the aliens moved carefully, as if every motion required extra effort. "Are you uncomfortable, Ambassador?" Frank asked during a brief pause in the diplomatic exchanges. "We can adjust our environmental settings if needed." Zelnor's large eyes blinked slowly. "You are perceptive, Captain Murray. Your gravity is challenging for us, and your atmospheric pressure is quite intense. We have taken supplements to help us endure these conditions." Olivia leaned forward. "Endure? Our conditions are quite mild compared to many places on Earth." The room grew quiet as the aliens exchanged glances. "Perhaps this is a good time to discuss our classification system," Zelnor said. "The Commonwealth catalogs all known worlds. Earth has been classified as a Class 3 Deathworld." "Deathworld?" The Secretary General frowned. "That sounds rather extreme." "It is not meant as an insult," another alien named Trelvox explained. "It is simply a technical designation for planets with environmental conditions that would be lethal to most spacefaring species." Frank shook his head. "There must be some mistake. Surely there are harsher worlds than Earth in your catalog." "Oh yes," Zelnor said. "Class 4 and 5 death worlds exist, but they do not produce intelligent life. The fact that your species evolved to sentience on a Class 3 world is remarkable." Olivia pulled up data on her tablet. "Could you explain the parameters of this classification?" The aliens brought up a holographic display showing comparative planetary data. As the information filled the screen, the human delegation grew increasingly confused. "Your gravity is 2.3 times the Commonwealth average for inhabited worlds," Trelvox explained. "Your atmospheric pressure would crush most species. Your temperature variations are extreme, from freezing to scorching in the same year, sometimes even the same day. And your pathogens," added another alien with a visible shudder. "Your world teems with microscopic predators. The bacterial and viral diversity alone would qualify Earth as a Class 2, even without the other factors." Frank exchanged glances with Olivia. "This is normal for us," he said. "Precisely what makes it remarkable," Zelnor replied. "Your species evolved under conditions that would kill 98% of Commonwealth citizens within minutes, without extreme protective measures." The Secretary General leaned back in her chair. I assume you've encountered other, what did you call them? Deathworld species? Very few, Zelnor admitted. Most do not develop spaceflight before destroying themselves. Your achievement of both technological advancement and social stability despite your evolutionary background is unprecedented. As the meeting continued, data scrolled across the screens. Earth's regular natural disasters, earthquakes, hurricanes, floods, were rare or non-existent on most Commonwealth worlds. The radiation levels from Earth's sun would be considered dangerous exposure on their planets. Even Earth's oxygen-rich atmosphere would be toxically reactive to many species. I must confess, Zelnor said as the presentation concluded, we have not been entirely forthcoming about our reasons for contact. The room tensed. We've been monitoring your world for some time. The Commonwealth faces a threat, one we cannot confront with our biology and psychology. We believe humanity might succeed where we cannot. What kind of threat? Frank asked. The alien brought up a new hologram showing a dark mass spreading across one section of the galaxy. Something is coming from the galactic core. It has already consumed 3 star systems. Our weapons are ineffective. Our people cannot survive the conditions required to fight this enemy directly. And you think we can? Olivia asked. You evolved on a world that would kill most of us instantly. Your bodies endure pressures, radiation, and toxins that would destroy our tissues. Your minds developed in an environment of constant danger and competition. Zelnor's eyes fixed on Frank. We need Deathworlders, Captain Murray. We need humans. Frank looked at the spreading darkness on the hologram. You're asking us to fight your war. I am asking for an alliance, Zelnor corrected. We offer technology and knowledge beyond your current capabilities. In exchange, we ask for the unique abilities only your species possesses. The Secretary General's expression was grave. This is not a decision we can make immediately. Of course, but please understand, time is a factor. The threat advances, and we have already lost millions of lives trying to contain it. As the meeting adjourned, Frank stood by the viewport again, watching Earth rotate slowly below. The blue planet that had always seemed so normal to him now looked different through alien eyes. A crucible of extreme conditions that had forged humanity into something unique in the galaxy. What do you think they really want from us? Olivia asked, joining him at the window. Frank watched the alien ship gleaming in the sunlight. I think they're afraid, and I think they're telling the truth about needing us. Because we're tough? Because we're survivors, Frank replied. We evolved on what they call a Hellworld. Maybe that's exactly what the galaxy needs right now. Samantha Reeves looked out the viewport of the Commonwealth transport ship as it approached Australis, the central hub world of the Galactic Commonwealth. 6 months had passed since first contact, and she was leading the first human delegation to visit an alien world. The blue-green planet grew larger, its surface dotted with gleaming cities that sparkled like jewels. Lieutenant Reeves, we will be landing in 20 minutes, said the Commonwealth pilot through her translator earpiece. Please ensure your team is prepared. Thank you, Sam replied, turning to address the 5 other humans in the cabin. Everyone, final equipment check. Environmental suits on and sealed. The team, 2 soldiers, 2 scientists, and a diplomat, began their pre-landing routine. Although Commonwealth scientists had assured them that Australis was safe for humans, with minimal protection, no one wanted to take chances. Their suits were lightweight but provided filtration against any potentially harmful alien microbes. I still can't believe we're actually here, said Dr. Ryan Powell, the team's biologist, as he checked his suit seals. First humans to set foot on an alien world. Just remember the mission, Sam reminded him. We're here to learn about the Commonwealth's technology and the threat they're facing. This isn't a sightseeing trip. The ship descended through wispy clouds and settled onto a landing pad outside a massive domed structure. Through the viewport, Sam could see a delegation of aliens waiting. Not just Valari like those who had visited Earth, but at least 3 other species of varying shapes and sizes. Showtime, she murmured, leading her team to the airlock. The gravity hit Sam first as she stepped onto Australis, noticeably lighter than Earth's pull. Each step felt like she might bounce if she wasn't careful. The air inside her helmet smelled clean and artificial from the filters. A tall Valari stepped forward. "Lieutenant Reeves, I am Admiral Tivra. Welcome to Australis." The alien's forearms performed a complex greeting gesture. "We are honored to host the first human delegation." Sam nodded respectfully. "The honor is ours, Admiral. Earth appreciates the Commonwealth's invitation." The next few hours were a blur of introductions and tours. The humans were shown to their quarters, specially modified to accommodate their unique physiological needs, as the Valari delicately put it. The rooms had enhanced structural supports, higher gravity settings, and atmospheric controls that could be adjusted to Earth normal. "They've gone to a lot of trouble for us," noted Diane Garcia, the team's diplomat, as they gathered in Sam's room that evening. "Makes you wonder just how desperate they are for our help," Sam replied. The following morning, Admiral Tivra led them to the Commonwealth Archives, a vast complex of crystalline structures housing the collected knowledge of hundreds of species. "Today, we will show you what we know of the threat," the Admiral explained as they entered a large chamber with a holographic display in its center. "But first, I believe some context is necessary." The hologram activated, showing a three-dimensional map of the galaxy with thousands of worlds highlighted in different colors. "The Commonwealth spans over 40,000 inhabited worlds," Tivra explained. "We categorize planets by habitability standards." The alien gestured, and Earth appeared in the display, glowing red among mostly blue and green worlds. "As you were told during first contact, Earth is classified as a death world," the Admiral continued. "But there is more to the classification than we initially shared." The hologram zoomed in on Earth, displaying detailed environmental data. Among the statistics was a designation Sam hadn't seen before: Class Hell 1. "I thought Earth was a Class 3 death world," Dr. Powell said, frowning. Tivra's large eyes blinked slowly. "That was not entirely accurate. We have a separate classification, beyond the death world scale. Earth is not merely a death world. It is what our scientists term a hellworld, the most extreme environment ever to produce a spacefaring species." Silence fell over the human team. "You lied to us?" Sam finally asked. "We simplified," Tivra replied. "We feared the full truth might affect our diplomatic relations. Your planet is unique in our records. No other hellworld has ever produced intelligent life capable of building civilization, let alone achieving spaceflight." The hologram shifted to show comparative data between Earth and other worlds. The differences were stark. Most Commonwealth species evolved on worlds with gravity between 0.3 and 0.7 of Earth standard, explained a Commonwealth scientist who had joined them. "Our atmospheres are less dense with lower oxygen content. We have minimal seasonal variations, no tectonic activity, and carefully balanced ecosystems. And humanity evolved through multiple extinction events," added another alien scientist with a hint of awe in its translated voice. "Ice ages, supervolcanoes, meteor impacts, rampant predators, thousands of diseases. By Commonwealth standards, Earth should be uninhabitable." Sam exchanged looks with her team. This explained the strange reactions they'd been getting from Commonwealth citizens, the mixture of fear and fascination. "What does this have to do with the threat you mentioned?" asked Diane, the diplomat. Tivra gestured again, and the hologram shifted to show a dark, expanding mass at the edge of Commonwealth space. "We call them the Void. They appeared 6 standard months ago from the galactic core. 3 star systems have already been lost." The Admiral's voice grew solemn. "Our weapons seem ineffective. Our ships cannot withstand the environments the Void create around themselves." "What kind of environment?" Sam asked. "Extreme gravity fluctuations, radiation levels that kill our crews in minutes, atmospheric conditions similar to your Venus." Tivra looked directly at Sam. "Conditions that, while dangerous to humans, you might survive long enough to fight back." Dr. Powell stepped closer to the hologram. "You want us to fight because we evolved on a hellworld. We need humans because you are the only species we've encountered who might stand a chance," Tivra admitted. "The Void create conditions around themselves that match or exceed Earth's most extreme environments. To our species, these are instantly lethal. To yours. They're just really bad days, Sam finished. Precisely. The Admiral nodded. Recent data suggests the Void are accelerating their advance. They will reach the nearest heavily populated Commonwealth world within 1 standard year. Billions of lives are at stake. Sam looked at the holographic representation of Earth, small, blue, and labeled as a Hellworld. Everything she had taken for granted about her home planet had been turned upside down. The air she breathed would poison most aliens. The pressure and gravity she lived under daily would crush their bodies. The temperature changes she experienced through normal seasons would kill Commonwealth citizens. "We'll need to see everything you have on the Void," Sam said finally. "And I mean everything. No more simplified truths." Tivra's 4 hands performed a gesture of agreement. "You will have full access to our data. The Commonwealth Council has authorized complete transparency with Earth from this point forward." As they left the archives later that day, Ryan fell into step beside Sam. "It's ironic, isn't it?" he said quietly. "We always thought aliens would be more advanced, more powerful than us. Instead, they need us because we're tough," Sam replied, watching the alien citizens give their group a wide berth in the hallway. "Because we come from a world they consider hell." Commander Alan Garcia looked out over the training field in the Rocky Mountains. 3 months had passed since the human delegation returned from Australis with the full truth about Earth's status in the galaxy. Now, the first joint human Commonwealth training facility was up and running on Earth. The mountain air was crisp and cool on this autumn morning, but Alan barely noticed it. His attention was fixed on the Commonwealth observers watching from their environmental bubbles. "Are they always going to stay in those things?" asked Sergeant Pete Collins, coming to stand beside him. "Can you blame them?" Alan replied. "To them, our air is too thick. Our gravity is crushing and our temperature is either freezing or boiling with very little middle ground." Below them, 100 human volunteers ran through combat drills while wearing the new integrated combat suits developed. With Commonwealth technology, the suits enhanced strength and speed while providing protection against the weapons the Void were known to use. "The aliens look impressed," Pete noted, glancing at the observer bubbles where 6 different Commonwealth species monitored the training. "They should be. Watching humans train in what they consider extreme conditions must be like watching someone work out in an active volcano." Dr. Natalie Wright joined them on the observation platform, her medical tablet in hand. At 35, she was one of Earth's leading experts on human performance and had been selected as the program's chief medical officer. "Commander, I've got some interesting comparisons I think you should see," she said, showing him the tablet. "I've been measuring the Commonwealth observers' physical limits against our trainees." Alan looked at the graphs and whistled. "Is this accurate?" "Completely. The average Commonwealth citizen can withstand about 1/3 of Earth's gravity before experiencing severe physiological stress. Their bones would literally break under normal Earth conditions without their environmental suits or bubbles." "And that's just gravity," Natalie continued. "The temperature range they consider survivable is about 10 degrees. Anything outside that narrow band is life-threatening to them." Alan shook his head in wonder. All his life he had considered humans relatively fragile compared to the fictional aliens in movies and books. The reality was shockingly different. "It's time for the high-gravity combat simulation," he said, checking his watch. "That should really give them something to talk about." The training ground below shifted as hidden machinery activated. The Commonwealth had provided gravity manipulation, technology that could increase or decrease localized gravitational force. For today's exercise, the field would simulate 2 Earth gravities, a crushing environment for the alien observers but merely challenging for the human trainees. From their bubbles, the aliens watched with what appeared to be stunned fascination as the human soldiers continued functioning, albeit with more effort as gravity doubled around them. The soldiers moved slower but adapted quickly, adjusting their tactics for the increased weight of their bodies and equipment. "They're recording everything," Pete said, nodding toward the aliens. "Every move, every adaptation." "Good," Alan replied. "They need to understand what they're getting in this alliance." Later that afternoon, Alan met with the Commonwealth representatives in a specially modified conference room. Half the room was set to Earth normal, while the other half had reduced gravity and different atmospheric composition for the aliens' comfort. "Commander Garcia," began Savrel, the Valari military liaison, "your species continues to surprise us. The training exercises today demonstrated capabilities we believed theoretically impossible." "It's just training, Savrel," Alan replied. "Humans have been known to lift cars off trapped loved ones in emergency situations. Our bodies are capable of extraordinary things when pushed." "We have analyzed the medical data Dr. Wright provided," said another alien, a squat being named Olzak from a species called the Mern. "Your healing abilities are particularly noteworthy. Wounds that would be fatal to Commonwealth species can be recovered from in days or weeks." Natalie nodded. "Human tissue regeneration evolved in response to our harsh environment. We needed to heal quickly to survive." "And your sleep requirements," added Olzak, "merely 6 to 8 hours per planetary rotation. Most sentient species require regenerative periods of 12 to 16 hours. Alan had never considered sleeping less as an advantage, but apparently to the galaxy at large, humans were remarkable for functioning on so little rest. "Tomorrow we'll begin the environmental adaptation exercises," Alan said, changing the subject. "We've selected 30 volunteers to test the modified equipment for void encounters." The Commonwealth representatives shifted uncomfortably. Savrel's large eyes blinked rapidly, a sign of distress Alan had learned to recognize. "Is there a problem?" he asked. "The conditions we wish to test, they are extreme even by your standards," Savrel explained. "We hesitate to ask your people to endure such trials." Alan smiled. "Let us worry about that. Your data shows the void create environmental conditions similar to some of our planet's worst natural disasters. We've had people who survive those. Very well," Savrel conceded. "We will proceed with the testing tomorrow." The next day dawned hot and clear as the training moved to a remote section of the Australian outback. Summer temperatures soared above 110 degrees Fahrenheit, and the dry air shimmered with heat, while the Commonwealth observers remained in their climate-controlled bubbles. The human squads prepared for the most extreme test yet. "Today we simulate conditions recorded at the edge of void territory," Alan announced to the assembled soldiers. "High gravity, extreme heat, and atmospheric toxins. Our objective is to demonstrate combat effectiveness in these conditions using the new integrated suits." Dr. Wright moved among the soldiers, checking final medical readouts. "Remember your training," she told them. "These suits will help, but they can't do everything. Listen to your bodies." The exercise began with the gravity generators increasing local gravity to 1.8 times Earth normal. Then came the atmospheric changes, the addition of higher carbon dioxide levels and trace amounts of sulfur compounds. Finally, heating elements raised the already scorching temperature by another 15 degrees. From their bubbles, the Commonwealth observers watched in what could only be described as horrified amazement, as the human soldiers not only survived, but executed complex tactical maneuvers in conditions that would kill most sentient species in minutes. "They're still functioning," Olzak whispered to Savrel, the sound carrying through their communication system. "How is this possible?" "This is why we need them," Savrel replied. "This is why Earth's Hellworld evolution may save us all." As the exercise concluded, a Commonwealth shuttle landed nearby. A message was quickly relayed to the command center where Alan was monitoring the training. "Commander," called a communications officer. "Priority message from Commonwealth High Command. They've captured a Void Scout vessel at the edge of the Cygnus sector." Alan turned to Dr. Wright, his expression serious. "They've got one?" She nodded, understanding the implications. "This changes everything. If they have Void technology, then we can finally see what we're up against," Alan finished, "and maybe figure out how to beat them." Captain Greg Martinez stood on the bridge of the ISF Valiant, Earth's first true interstellar battleship. Built with Commonwealth technology but designed for human physiology, the Valiant represented humanity's greatest achievement in space travel. Through the main viewport, Greg could see the rest of the joint fleet, 7 Commonwealth vessels maintaining a safe distance while the Valiant took point position. "Captain, we're approaching the edge of void-controlled space," reported Lieutenant Eric Daniels from the navigation station. Sensors are detecting gravitational disturbances ahead. All hands to battle stations, Greg ordered, his voice calm despite the tension filling the bridge. Shield generators at maximum. 6 months had passed since the capture of the Void Scout vessel. Analysis of its technology had revealed crucial information. The Void weapons utilized intense gravitational distortion, debilitating to Commonwealth species, but merely disorienting to humans. The environmental conditions aboard Void ships, high, radiation, extreme temperatures, toxic atmosphere, were unsurvivable for Commonwealth species but within human tolerance limits with proper equipment. Commonwealth flagship Celestial Dawn is hailing us, said Communications Officer Carla Jimenez. On screen, Greg replied. The face of Admiral Savrel appeared on the main display. The Valari looked anxious even through the translator's visual filters. Captain Martinez, our sensors detect a Void battle group moving toward our position. We will maintain our agreed safe distance while your ship makes first contact. Greg nodded. Understood, Admiral. The Valiant will handle close engagement. Just be ready to provide support fire from your position if needed. May your remarkable human resilience serve us all today, Sovrel replied before ending the transmission. Greg turned to his executive officer, Commander William Hayes. Status of the boarding teams? Lieutenant Perez has her squad ready in the launch bay, Will reported. Boarding pods are prepped and the new environmental suits have been checked 3 times. Greg had personally selected Lieutenant Laura Perez to lead the first boarding party. At 32, she had been a Special Forces operative before joining the space program, with experience in extreme environment operations. Captain, multiple contacts ahead, Eric announced. Void vessels moving into attack formation. The bridge crew watched as 5 black angular ships appeared on the main view screen. Unlike the sleek designs of Commonwealth ships or the practical lines of the Valiant, Void vessels looked jagged and unwelcoming, like crystallized darkness against the stars. They're powering weapons, reported the tactical officer. Gravitational distortion fields activating. Brace for impact, Greg ordered. Countermeasures online. The first wave hit the Valiant with unexpected force. The ship shuddered as gravity, waves washed over it, fluctuating the artificial gravity from nearly 0 to 3 times Earth normal in seconds. Bridge crew members gripped their stations tightly, their specialized training enabling them to continue functioning where Commonwealth crews would have been incapacitated. Shields holding at 87%, reported the tactical officer. The gravity compensators are working, but they can't cancel all effects. Greg felt the pressure pushing him down into his chair, then lifting him against his restraints, but he remained focused. Return fire. Target the lead vessel. The Valiant's main weapons, particle beams enhanced with Commonwealth technology, lashed out against the darkness. The lead Void ship's shields flared but held. After 30 minutes of exchange fire, Greg saw their opportunity. The second ship from the right has shield fluctuations. Lieutenant Perez, prepare your team for boarding. Target that vessel. In the launch bay, Laura Perez finished the final checks on her boarding team's equipment. 8 soldiers in advanced environmental suits stood ready beside their boarding pod. Remember the mission, she told them. Get in, secure access to their systems, gather intelligence, and get out. The Commonwealth needs to know what we're really dealing with. The boarding pod launched during a lull in the battle, using the Valiant's covering fire as distraction. It crossed the void between ships in minutes, magnetic clamps securing it to the hull of the target vessel. Cutting through now, said Sergeant Ben Miller, operating the laser cutter. The metal of the Void ship's hull glowed red, then white, before finally giving way. Immediately, sensors in their suits screamed warnings. Radiation, levels at 300% above safe limits, Ben announced. Atmosphere is mostly methane and sulfur compounds. Temperature is 140 degrees Celsius. Laura nodded inside her helmet. Just as predicted. Suits should protect us for 40 minutes. Let's move. The interior of the Void ship was alien in every sense. Corridors that seemed to bend in impossible angles, surfaces that absorbed light rather than reflected it, and gravity that changed direction seemingly at random. What they didn't find immediately were crew members. "Where is everyone?" whispered Private Kelly Rodriguez. "Shouldn't there be resistance?" They found their answer in the central chamber of the ship. Floating in transparent tanks filled with dark liquid were beings unlike anything humans had encountered before. They resembled something between insects and cephalopods, with multiple limbs, segmented bodies, and compound eyes. But most shocking was their size. Each was no larger than a human hand. "They're tiny," Ben said in surprise. Laura approached one of the tanks, studying the beings inside. "These can't be the Void. They're too small to operate this ship." A strange humming filled the chamber, and the liquid in the tanks began to glow faintly. Laura's translator device activated automatically. "You resist our weapons," came a broken voice. "How survive our environment?" Laura hesitated before responding. "We evolved on a world with harsh conditions. Who are you?" "We are Nexari. You call us Void." The liquid pulsed with each broken phrase. "Not invaders, refugees." The revelation stunned the boarding team. Laura connected her suit's communication system to the Valiant. "Captain, you need to hear this." Over the next 20 minutes, the truth emerged. The Nexari had evolved on worlds even harsher than Earth: high pressure, extreme radiation, toxic atmosphere. Their natural environment was closer to Jupiter's moons than Earth's surface. They were fleeing something worse, something coming from the galactic core that destroyed entire star systems. "Why attack Commonwealth worlds?" Laura asked. "No. Attack. Terraform. For survival. Cannot live in Commonwealth conditions. Too gentle. Need harsh worlds." Laura's mind raced. The Nexari weren't conquering out of malice but desperation. They were changing worlds to match their deadly home conditions, unable to survive in environments comfortable to most species. Back on the Valiant, Captain Martinez received this information with growing concern. Commonwealth reinforcements were arriving, and several alien captains were demanding immediate destruction of all Void vessels. "Lieutenant Perez," Greg said over the comm, "we have a decision to make. Commonwealth protocol calls for eliminating the threat. But if they're refugees," Laura looked at the small beings floating in their tanks. "They're desperate, Captain. Like us, they evolved in extreme conditions. Maybe that's why they can communicate with us and not with the Commonwealth species." "Can we broker some kind of peace?" Greg asked. "Maybe," Laura replied. "But we need to act fast. The Commonwealth ships are moving into attack positions." In that moment, humanity faced its first true interstellar diplomatic crisis. Follow orders and help destroy the Nexari, or attempt to broker an unprecedented peace between three very different types of intelligent life: Commonwealth species from gentle worlds, humans from their Hellworld Earth, and the Nexari from environments even more extreme. Greg made his decision. "Open channels to all ships, Commonwealth and Nexari. Tell them Earth wants to talk." 1 year after the first battle with the Nexari, Earth had become the unlikely center of galactic diplomacy. The diplomatic compound in Geneva hosted representatives from the Commonwealth, the Nexari Collective, and several independent worlds. Senior Ambassador Helen Ramirez walked through the Grand Hall, nodding to alien delegates as she passed. At 53, Helen had never imagined she would become Earth's voice in interstellar politics. The large windows of the hall showed the strange sight that had become normal in Geneva: environmental bubbles containing Commonwealth delegates floating alongside the heavy pressure tanks that housed the tiny Nexari representatives. "Ambassador Ramirez, the Emergency Council is gathering," said her assistant, Lisa Wong. "The scientists have completed their analysis." Helen quickened her pace. The truce brokered by Captain Martinez and Lieutenant Perez had held for a year, but it remained fragile. Commonwealth species still distrusted the Nexari, whose method of survival involved transforming environments in ways lethal to most other life forms. Only humanity stood between these two alien groups, capable of understanding both perspectives. The council chamber was designed with 3 distinct environmental sections: standard Earth conditions in the center where the humans sat, reduced gravity and pressure sections for the Commonwealth delegates, and high-pressure, high-temperature tanks for the Nexari. "Thank you all for coming," Helen began as the translators activated. "Professor Crawford has completed his analysis of the data from the galactic core." Daniel Crawford rose from his seat among the human delegation. At 48, he had become Earth's leading expert on xenophysics, working with both Commonwealth and Nexari scientists. "The situation is worse than we feared," Daniel said, activating the holographic display in the center of the room. "The dimensional rift in the galactic core is expanding at an accelerating rate." The hologram showed a pulsing tear in space, bleeding energy into our universe. Data scrolled alongside the image: radiation levels, gravitational anomalies, and exotic particle readings. "What exactly is coming through this rift?" asked Zelnor, now serving as the Commonwealth High Commissioner. "Entities from a universe with incompatible physical laws," Daniel explained. "Their very presence warps our reality around them. That's what the Nexari were fleeing." The small floating tank containing Tirvex, the Nexari Prime, pulsed with light as the translator conveyed their words. "Our oldest colonies were first to fall. Reality itself changed. Nothing survived. Not even our kind, evolved for extreme conditions." Helen watched the faces and equivalent expressions of the gathered representatives. Fear crossed species boundaries, appearing in alien features just as clearly as in human ones. "How long do we have?" she asked. Daniel's expression was grim. "At current expansion rates, the rift will begin affecting outer Commonwealth worlds within 6 months. Major population centers within a year." "Can it be stopped?" asked Sovrel. "Theoretically, yes." Daniel brought up a new diagram. "Working with Nexari and Commonwealth scientists, we've developed a method to collapse the rift using targeted gravitational waves. But deployment presents a significant problem." Helen already knew what was coming next. She had reviewed the preliminary findings the day before. "The delivery system must be precisely positioned at the edge of the rift," Daniel continued. "The radiation and gravitational distortion there are beyond survivable levels for Commonwealth species. Even the Nexari cannot endure those conditions for more than a few minutes." "But humans might," said Zelnor, large eyes turning toward the human delegation. Daniel nodded. "With advanced protective measures, humans could potentially survive long, enough to deploy the device and initiate the collapse sequence." A low murmur ran through the chamber as the implications became clear. Once again, humanity's evolution on their Hellworld made them uniquely suited to save the galaxy. "This will be a joint mission," Helen declared, rising from her seat. "Nexari, ships can approach closer to the rift than any others. Commonwealth technology can provide the gravitational wave generators, and human crews will handle the final deployment. Over the next 3 months, an unprecedented cooperative effort unified the formerly hostile species. The Nexari contributed their advanced propulsion systems, capable of functioning in extreme gravitational fields. Commonwealth engineers designed the rift collapsing device, and human volunteers trained to endure conditions that pushed even their remarkable tolerance to its limits. On the day of launch, Helen stood in the Geneva spaceport watching the massive joint fleet prepare for departure. The strange hybrid vessels, built with technology from all 3 major species, symbolized how far they had come since first contact. Captain Laura Perez, promoted after her successful first contact with the Nexari, would lead the mission to the galactic core. She approached Helen on the observation deck, already wearing the inner layer of her specialized environmental suit. "Any final words of wisdom, Ambassador?" Laura asked with a slight smile. Helen looked at the captain, remembering the frightened young lieutenant who had first reported the truth about the Nexari a year earlier. "Remember why we're doing this, not just for humanity but for all life in this galaxy, no matter how different from us." Laura nodded. "Who would have thought our Hellworld would prepare us for this? That struggling to survive on Earth would make us the galaxy's best hope." "Perhaps that's always the way of evolution," Helen replied. "Challenges create strength. Adversity builds resilience. The launch ceremony brought together the strange alliance, humans standing unprotected, Commonwealth, delegates in their environmental suits, and Nexari in their floating tanks. Despite their physical differences, a common purpose united them. As the fleet departed Earth orbit, Helen addressed the United Nations General Assembly. The speech was broadcast to every human settlement on Earth and the colonies on Mars and Europa. 2 years ago, humanity learned we were not alone in the universe, she began. We discovered that our home, which we had always taken for granted, was considered a hellworld by galactic standards. Today, we understand that this was not a curse but a gift. The chamber was silent as she continued. The same harsh conditions that shaped our evolution, that made us strong, adaptable, and resilient, have prepared us for this moment. While we may never have the advanced technology of the Commonwealth or the unique biology of the Nexari, we have something equally valuable, the ability to endure, to survive, to face impossible odds and prevail. Images from the departing fleet showed on the large screens, human crews working alongside alien allies, united despite their differences. The rift at the galactic core threatens all life, regardless of its origins. But together, we have found a solution that no species could have developed alone. The Commonwealth provides wisdom, the Nexari contribute perspective, and humanity offers endurance. She looked around at the assembled representatives of Earth's nations. We go to the stars, not as conquerors or refugees, but as protectors. The children of Earth, the Hellworld that taught us to survive against all odds, now use that strength to ensure the survival of all. As her speech concluded, Helen thought about the strange journey that had brought humanity to this moment. From isolated planetary species to crucial galactic player in less than 2 years. Earth's status as a hellworld, once considered a cosmic misfortune, had proven to be humanity's greatest strength and the galaxy's salvation.